do you see a forever with this person? And by that, we mean do you see the values that you have being aligned with the other person? Is one or both of you willing to move to make this relationship work?
But then also, you're also asking at the same time, am I willing to live with this person when we come together in the same city?
Yeah.
And so to that, I would say that there are a few things on my checklist. Like, you didn't know that I was peeping things, but like.
Now that we have kind of set the groundwork for what are the questions, what are the things you should consider before even entertaining a long distance relationship, let's look at some of the struggles. And my own personal ones, I have written 3. You could add some more there if you have any. Number 1 is long distance relationships can be really expensive. Where if I'm seeing somebody in the same city, it's going to cost me $5 of gas or $10 at most for me to go see that person. Like our scenario, it used to cost me about $200, and that's me driving from Vancouver to Portland and back. For you, you might have to maybe travel to a completely different city or maybe a different country.
I had to get a Nexus card because of you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and so it can be really expensive in time. It can be really expensive in money. And those are the things that I think most people need to consider as far as it's not easy compared to where, hey, I'm just going to go, let's say, 20 minutes away from here to go see my partner.
When you're visiting long distance, it's kind of like these mini vacations every time. So it's not, hey, come on over and let me cook you a taco.
Yeah.
Like, we're going out.
Yeah.
Sometimes we organized it around dances. We knew we were going to be out late. We had to, I bought a new dress every time we thought, we were going to get together on the Canadian side and go out and do our dance stuff with our dance community.
So it's like mini vacation every time you go see
and vacations are expensive.
Yeah.
So that was hard.
Yeah, that is something I
It was
personally
good.
had.
But and it proved that we were serious, like over and over again.
Because you're willing to put in the effort while you can see somebody else. The second, I would say, struggle when it comes to long distance relationship, especially a person like me, was the lack of that physical contact, especially sexually, romantically, with the person that you now have these intense feelings for, which is, oh my gosh, I wish I would be getting intimate with this person right now, but I can't. I wish I would be able to do this, and I can't. And it could also be that maybe you have options around there, but you're now committed to this person, and you have to come correct where you're a person of character. You can't just go messing around having sex with different people just because your person is away. So that lack of physical contact for some people can be such a hard thing.
I think that people today in relationships rely heavily on sexual connection, and I'm still pretty old school. What I love about long distance is that you get to build this foundation talking, and when you only have time to talk, you have many more questions if sleeping together is not getting in the way instantly. It's like, what do you want in your life? What are you doing today? What are your priorities? What are you doing this weekend? Oh, great, you're going to check back in with your friends, you're going to go dancing, etc. So there's something really wholesome about that, or it was for me. It was more of a struggle for you because due to my history and my own experiences, I have a different relationship with sex. Okay. So for me, someone who leans heavily on the communication bit, I can't, and a lot of women can't, get what they need from a sexual experience unless they feel fundamentally safe and honored and heard sexually. So maybe in your instance it didn't feel like that, and I think that that's why maybe maybe the sexual topic it was more of a struggle for you, because I think that me and my circle of women also, we need so much. There's so much trauma there that the talking gave us what we needed. The talking for so long gave us what we needed to then come to that, the time of that we were going to be having sex or sharing sexual moments, that was on time for me.
Okay. We have a different, I guess, for most men have a different experience compared to women, where with women there's a lot of trusting that has to happen before they fully open up to a man sexually.
Some.
Yeah. So, yep. And when that happens, that sexual connection is deeper for most women. Yes, we appreciate the emotional part. We appreciate the safety, obviously, but it's not of a big of a concern to us. That's why the physical we get to the physical easier and sooner than women for the most part. So that's interesting to see. There's that different experience compared to what I was struggling with to what you were cherishing in that moment, which is the getting to know me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what might be a hard time for one person might be like, oh, this is really nice, even though it's not always communicated in that.
Well, don't get it twisted. I have some friends with sexual appetites that would have sounded very similar to your struggle. So.
Yeah. Okay. And I would say this last struggle didn't apply to us specifically, but I hear with a lot of people, a lot of clients, a lot of friends, which is there is a lot of room for misunderstandings when communicating with one another. A lot of people who are in long distance relationship, they will constantly be texting with one another. That instant messaging, which lacks the tonality, which lacks the body language. And it's very easy for people to misconceive things or hear something or read something, and they're in a certain mood and they take it a different way. And that is something that I hear constantly from people. It's like, oh, the relationship ended. All I did was just text her this, and it was harmless. And she completely reacted. Or she took it the wrong way. And so long distance relationships leave a lot of room for you to constantly reach out to one another if you're not. But we never had that because I think we had very busy lives, and we knew that we were going to touch base on the weekends. And on the evenings and weekends we'll kind of spend more time and do those dates, which something we'll talk about at the very end about how to make relationships work. But those are the three struggles for me.
I think that generally it was a risk for me as a single parent. 2, I had to say goodbye to someone I was seeing at the time. And so making that decision, there's no like back and forth there. Like when I'd met you, I said, this is something I'm going to go full force into. I'm going to dedicate a lot of time and money into seeing that this is going to work. And it was just worth it for me because it felt so effortless.
So those are our struggles that we experienced through this whole process as far as the long distance relationship. And that is something that you might also relate to if you've gone through a long distance relationship or going through a long distance relationship and navigating that. However, speaking of struggles, and you hinted a little bit of how one thing that was a little bit for her time for me, no pun intended there, but you cherished was just getting to know someone. And to me, I feel like there's benefits, and this is kind of where we're going to talk about a little bit about them. There's benefits to long distance relationships. Most of the time, they're filled with a ton of fun moments when you get together with that person that you're seeing long distance. There is no room for just wasting time.
There's no room to waste. Yeah.
Because this person is only going to be here for a weekend or for a week. And you try to get as many moments in the time that person is there. So I felt that strongly when I came to Portland. We were going for hikes. We were going for dinner and lunches and exploring city and visiting museums and all that.
I think the biggest factor in that is that it is so hard to get complacent when you're setting that kind of schedule.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that you were the only partner I'd ever had who'd been able to surprise me, whether it be like a gift or an outing or anything. And I think that because we were unable to get complacent and we had to use our brains and we had to plan for each other and really be on top of our shit. And that is why so many of those really special, really incredible moments happened during the mini vacations, rather like our back and forth, our small trips. Our waterfall trips, our dinners, our favorite restaurants, our walks on the beach, our even like taking me to a bookstore because that's like my place. I remember you tried ice skating for the first time, which didn't go so well. No. But it's that like if complacency sets in, then you're not going to be as brave as you usually would. You're not going to say in your head, "This is special. Should I really go do this big effort thing?" And we did so much more of that because of because we had a limited amount of time
to spend with one another.
Yeah.
Yeah. To add into the fun conversation, passionate sex, especially when you're only seeing somebody once a month or once every 2 weeks, is easily accessible when you're in a long distance relationship, because again, you haven't seen this person in a couple weeks. You haven't touched them. You haven't smelled their like just their body.
Everything's heightened.
Yeah. So when you get with them, it's intense. It's like the hugs get tighter. The time you spend in like things. I mean, I'm not going to get into details, but like foreplay and all. Everything is like fireworks.
You spend so much time appreciating.
The passionate part of in sex there, I think it could also be the anticipation, the mystery, the yearning that you have.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the physical and when you're there, but all the stories, all the thoughts you have while you're getting to see that person or while you're away.
Yeah.
Kind of like increases the pressure on that.
You're getting really animated right now.
I know.
You okay?
But it's that part that I look at and I say,
cut.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
But that it's super easy, and once you're together, sex, it takes more effort. You have to intentionally be there. You have to intentionally kind of slow down and things like that. But while you're in a long distance relationship, it's like you want to go for the second run, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's easily accessible.
Skip foreplay, and I think that like foreplay is essential. Time is essential. How are we going to start? Like, what comes before foreplay? How do we really plan this thing out? Like, it's so much more. Everything's really vibrant when you're limited. You've got limited time.
Yeah. So there's a lot of playfulness. That's kind of one thing that I'll say too.
There's just a lot of everything.
Yeah.
You got to pack it all in. No pun intended. We both only get to do that once, by the way. So no more puns.
Okay. Sounds good. Lastly, as far as benefits go, I would say in my own life, I benefited from intensely concentrating on my own personal work, where while I knew that I was not going to see you for 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm not going to spend an entire evening talking to you, I knew I had a good chunk of my evening after my 9 to 5 to say, hey, what are my passions? What am I going to work on? What things do I need to create for myself?
Back to business.
Yeah. So it gives you that focus, knowing that you don't have to go home and cater to this person and give them your energy. Because when you're in a relationship, you have to give them that energy. But now that
because now I bug you all morning and all evening, and all you want to do is like quiet cup of coffee, and then like, can I just read my book, babe? And and I'm like, ding,
I do that.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. So it's, to me, now I look back, would I change what I have right now for that? Absolutely not. But it's kind of one of those things that you look back and you think, oh my gosh, I got a lot of shit done during that time.
Yeah.
And if you're single, I mean, if you're in a relationship and let's say you get a chance to, let's maybe go away for a bit. Even you sometimes get out of the house, get away from
we get a lot done when we're
apart from one
another.
Yeah.
And so maybe we just go from taking short vacations to see each other to taking short vacations to see ourselves. And maybe that's a really good trade-off.
To see ourselves. I like the way you put that. Awesome. I have an idea of what I feel made our relationship work. And it was not something that
I love that you're saying it in past tense.
Still works.
Take it back.
Can't take it off.
I can't take it off.
What made long distance relationship work for us?
Yeah.
And to me, there were key things like clear communication, where I knew that I was not going to be texting you ineffectively. Where I say, hey, how's it going? I think we barely had.
I hate that shit. I even hate it when my friends do that. What's up? I ignore it.
It's kind of one of those things where we didn't have junk communication in our long distance relationship, where I was very intentional about calling you, let's say in the evenings around 9 p.m. Or 8 p.m. before, while I was winding down before going to bed, and kind of catch up with you. In the beginning, I think there's sometimes it went a couple of days or even a week before talking to you, where it allows anticipation, it allows to the other person's pace, for me to think about, oh, how is her day going, but not
it's healthy.
Reaching out instantly.
It's healthy. Yeah, it's called adulting.
It has a term, people.
Yeah.
It has a term.
Like, nobody needs to, don't smother, don't get smothered.
Yeah.
ugh. Ugh, it gives me goosebumps. It's like, don't be needy. Don't, like, if you find yourself being needy, then you need to whip out the magnifying glass and take another look at whether or not it's a good time for you to even be thinking about a relationship.
Yeah. Something else that we did is cater to each other's love languages, where, especially when we were together, there were things that you valued that I was like, oh, I'm going to give her this. My love language is experiences, where spending quality time together.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what love languages are, it's a concept that was put together by, I think, Gary Chapman. Yeah, Gary Chapman. Read that book. I think there's 5 love languages. Yours is definitely gifting. That's one of them. Try to understand your partner's love language and communicate it that way.
Yeah, and we were really objective about it.
Yeah.
Like, we both knew our love languages already, which flows into, like, my one piece of good advice to people, so we'll get there. But we already knew, and we had our lists. So when we were coming into this, like, we were both, like, if either one of us had not been as self-knowing or as advanced in the way that we went about looking for relationships or looking for somebody to fit into our story, we were just at the same place, so it worked. But
also, I would say another kind of like word of caution here is, when you have a love language, you tend to communicate that love language to almost everybody because it's easier. So let's say if your love language is gift giving and your partner's love language is, let's say, spending quality time, you're going to want to give your way into that relationship or while you're in that relationship, and not realizing that maybe your partner doesn't respond to that as much.
True love is a selfless love.
Yeah. So you learn, understand your love language and let the other person know how you like to be loved. Spending quality time, say, hey, babe, this is what it means to be loved to me, taking trips. Let the other person know, when you give me this, it means a lot to me. It tells me that you love me. And you learn the language of your partner and communicate in a way that they would understand that, hey, now I'm being loved by my partner. And I think that's something that, again, not to say this too much, but that's something that we intentionally did while we were in a relationship. And another thing that made our relationship work was we had an aligned focus on what our future was going to be. It wasn't just, hey, let's just date around and see where this is going to go. You know, we knew that we wanted to live together. We knew that we wanted to prosper in our lives and do things that are aligned to what we think is a good time, what a good life is, and what our virtues are. And we started working towards that. And I think that gave us something to look forward to, where we knew, hey, when I move in, it could be small things like, this is where your clothes are going to go. And it kind of made me feel like home. And it made me feel like, oh, once I move in there, this is how my life is going to be. So it gave me something to envision.
You have to think about the other person. You have to be selfless. You have to let them know that you are baking them
into your life.
Because
you have to give them a chunk of course, your space. There's the tension there. And those things really meant to me. When I came, I was like, oh, I bought this IKEA wardrobe that is kind of already put together for you, and here's where your clothing is going to be. So those little things gave me, again, something to look forward to, something to hope for, something to be like, oh.
We didn't nail it completely, though.
No, I mean.
Because I don't travel as much as you want me to travel, and you don't spend as much money as I spend, so you should spend more. And I don't save. Or like, I don't like numbers, so you handle that. But we found ways to continue to figure it out. Yeah. But those were not things we had hard boundaries drawn around. So we've been actively working on those things.
And I think it's something that we're constantly going to be working on. There's some things that you hate doing, and I'm like, oh my God, I'll do that every day. And there's some things kind of vice versa. So you are not really going to meet somebody who is perfect. I think you become a complete person, and another complete person comes in, and you're like, how can we get a fuller life with these values that are aligned? And I think another piece of advice here is going to be, just keep dating even while you're apart.
Okay, the way you said that sounded like you were like, and don't just see the person who you're in this long relationship with, but date other people.
Yeah.
That's what you made it sound like.
Oh, no, keep dating each other.
Keep dating within the interest between the people.
Yeah. Keep dating each other.
Like, we do digi dates.
Digital dates.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it could be movie night. I think
Yeah,
another
we did
example
movie
could
nights.
be
We did the dinners.
picnic.
We did.
So you could, let's say, go to your beach or a park near where you live and bring dinner, or bring a couple things, and let the other person be on the other end.
That's
They kinda
so
do the same thing.
cheesy.
It is cheesy, but it's
cheesy.
something that I think kind of gives you a little bit of. It's the quality time that, again, it's the quality time love language part of me that's speaking right now, where it's not the physically being there, but it's the actual time that's being put
Good
aside.
cheesy.
It's good cheesy. I'll take it. I'm lactose intolerant though, so.
We're working on that.
So that's what I think would be clear
Yeah.
communication, avoid junk communication
Yeah.
in that sense, have an aligned future or something to look forward to, and also keep dating each other while you're away. You see you had something in there as well.
I have one, like if you ask me what like the most important piece of advice is, know your limits. This situation is not limitless. You don't just keep waiting for somebody. Had you not been ready, I'd have been like, okay, well, I'm not gonna wait for my eggs to shrivel up. I'm not gonna spend myself into the ground on travel.
Yeah.
Like you were not given an open timeline to figure it out. And I assume neither was I.
No.
So you don't just go in and you just keep waiting for somebody. Your life and your livelihood still have to be your priority. And at some point you may have to step away. And I would highly recommend to people who are doing this to have a really good grasp of what it feels like when shit starts to hit the fan a little bit. And they're like, all right, I'm not happy with this. Like I am actually really, really not settled with the fact that I've come to see you 3 times, for example, and you've stopped talking about coming to see me. Like, it worked out for us.
Yeah.
But imagine what signals we would have given each other if one of us had not been feeling it anymore. But we had already dedicated time and money. So, like, it's not okay to be left in the dust. And if you start feeling like somebody's doing that to you, walk. Like, there are limits. Everybody should have limits.
Feel free to walk away if the situation doesn't
Yeah.
make you feel
Yeah.
like you're a valued member of that relationship,
Yeah.
and the other person is willing to invest effort, which could be also mean money into that relationship, because yes, money is a factor here.
If they're asking you to stay too long,
Yeah.
or stay too many times, or stay and stay and stay and stay, and you look back at your bank account and you spent $5,000 traveling to see this person and they've shown no progress, no, hey, they're not asking the questions, where are we going next?
Yeah.
What city should we pick? What are we, and maybe it's a year, but maybe that's something people need to talk about, right?
What is the time frame we're giving each other, and what are the things we are doing to move this relationship forward?
Yeah.
And again, at the end of the day, you should be aiming to be living in the same area,
Yeah.
same house possibly, so that you can be with this person in a relationship that's obviously healthy
And
but physically there.
one of those boundaries is, just because you're long distance doesn't mean it is really up to the pair or more, if they are so inclined.
I haven't seen a 3-way long distance relationship yet.
Well, there are 3s, 4s, and 5s, but that's, I digress.
We live in Portland.
We've seen everything. It doesn't necessarily mean, because you talk a lot about dating, and you encourage dating multiple people.
If you're single.
And there's a respectful way to do that.
Yeah.
There's a responsible way to do that. But it also applies here. So just because someone is investing time and money, people need to also set boundaries around and be clear about what they're allowing into the relationship, or as another layer to the relationship. Because you're spending so much time apart that there are great and grand opportunities to date other people, as you may have been doing before you met each other and decided.
Just to close this off here, Dixit, there will be struggles in any long-distance relationship. There are some things you should foresee being struggles. There are some benefits, as we just touched on. And there are those questions that you should already be asking yourself. Do I see a future with this person? Are the values that we have, are they aligned? Are we planning on living together at some point? The finances, the work, the community of wherever both of you are going to end up, or if one of you is moving to the other person's city. So each and every person's relationship is going to be different. You might have a completely different circumstance. Maybe there's immigration involved. Just talk that over, have a clear line of communication, and if there are struggles that you are going through, communicate that with the person that you're dating, you're in this relationship with, so that at each and every step, you at least have, I don't want to say a certainty, but knowing that, hey, this is where this is going. And I think we're gonna end it there for this one here. Thank you, babe, for coming
My
over,
wisdom.
for the wisdom that you have offered in this video. If you have any questions for myself or for the wife here, put them in the comment section below. We would love to hear them and interact with them.
Questions.
If you want her to come back in the next videos, let me know in the comment section below. Or if this is the last one you want her in, don't let me know that. But
don't let me know that. Then I'm definitely coming back.
No. Thank you very much for watching to the very end. If you like the content, if you gained any value from this one here, please consider subscribing. Head to the website. There's going to be newsletters when it comes to dating, relationships, fitness, and nutrition going on there. Evans-Sabbi.com. Everything will be in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. Until next video, I'll catch you guys. Or we will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
I think that the idea of getting serious with someone without them even being long distance is like, I want dogs, I want a trailer, I want a big house, I want to open more businesses. Like, what are the chances that this guy's going to be on board? And you were.
I mean, for the most part, we were. There's some things that you had to bring me through your vision of what you saw that I did not see, because you had all these experiences that shaped what you wanted.